Hi, I'm Brian Lord, Senior Vice President of Premier Speakers Bureau, and I'm happy to have on the Janet Evans, Olympic gold medalist and mother of two. Janet, thanks for coming on.
You're welcome, Brian. My pleasure.
Now, as you know, we're doing this sort of Mother's Day series here, and you're a mother of two. And tell us about your kids real quick.
Well, I have a 5-year-old girl named Sydney and a
Oh,
2-year-old little guy named Jake, who was actually born on my birthday. They are a ton of fun and very energetic, as most 5 and 2-year-olds are, but they are the best of friends and get along great. And my husband and I feel very blessed.
very cool. Yeah, I didn't know this, but I have a daughter who is almost about to turn 5 named Sydney as well, and a daughter named
You do
Brooklyn.
what
So
a see great minds,
I know, absolutely, absolutely. Well, and now, for sharing advice from moms, what's something that you learned from your mom that you'd want to share with others?
Well, my mom is a mother of three. I have two older brothers, and by the time she got to me, I was this determined, girl that I had two brothers, and I was always, fighting my way in. And I was very competitive, obviously,
Yeah.
since I became an Olympian. But I was a girl, and I'd get very upset about things, and mad if I didn't swim well, or upset about this, or upset about I took everything to heart. And what both of my parents taught me, and my mother in particular, was that the sun was going to come up tomorrow, right?
Hmm.
So it's like, doesn't matter, Janet, we still love you, and your brothers still love you, so it's all good, and the sun's going to come up, and it's all going to be fine. So that's really the lesson I learned from my mom.
Yeah. Now, what I did was I kind of pulled a few friends of mine and some people on Facebook and Twitter and some event planners, and they came up with a couple questions. So, in addition to that, the question is, are you able to pass along your same drive and competitive nature to your kids? And with that, do you even want to?
I think that's a good question. It's funny, my mother and my dad, but my mom was always saying it was so interesting to her, which children kind of end up with what, right? Even though they all come from the same place,
Yeah.
basically. So, my the middle of my two brothers, the middle child, was a very talented athlete, but he just didn't have the kind of competitive spirit or the drive or the determination. And I'd say athletically, I might not have been quite as talented, but I had that drive and determination. So
Hmm.
I almost think it's almost inherent in your kids. At least my mother would tell you that after raising two boys that are successful in their own right, and then an Olympian. So I think my son is probably a little more competitive than my daughter. My daughter's kind of just one of those, she's just happy to be a part of everything girls, and I recognize that. So and if she was competitive, I would nurture that as much as I could. So, and someday down the line, if she wants to be an athlete, that's great, and my son as well. So I think it's, as parents, we all kind of understand our children and what makes them tick. So I think my mother was very correct in saying that, I mean, I think it's kind of in the child or not, really.
Hmm.
So.
Now, here's another one that applies both to being a mom and an athlete. But on the days you're unmotivated, tired, or when your training or mothering is completely exhausting, what do you envision to use as motivation?
Well, no matter how tired I am and how hard my muscles hurt, and the fact that I've swum 10 miles, to me, there's no harder job than getting up in the middle of the night with a newborn.
Yeah.
I mean, like every 90 minutes. And, we all know the newborn thing. So for me, that's what I go back to. Like, this might be hard, and swimming 10 miles could be hard, and my kids might be energetic and running around, and I just want to lay on the couch and watch TV. But I think having got up with two children, as every parent has, and gotten them through that newborn stage, I don't think there's anything harder. So that's what I kind of rely on, is the fact that I survived that, so I can get through all of this as well.
Now, with all the training and everything you're going through, what ways do you sort of balance being a mom and a professional, especially being this top level athlete?
Well, for me, I think I enjoy the moment more. I live in the moment. I really appreciate and respect the time I have with my children. So I kind of don't take any of it for granted. And I think that's really, above anything else, that's what this comeback of mine has helped me with, is made me appreciate what I have and the stability my family brings to me. And I just love coming home from swim practice and being tired. And maybe even if I've had a bad practice, my kids don't care.
Yeah.
They just want their mom. So that's really rewarding and makes it all worth it.
Now, do they have an understanding of what you've accomplished? Do you bust out the old VHS tapes and watch stuff, or
Yeah.
award
I
ceremonies?
swam so long ago it is VHS tapes. But although I've transferred some to DVD. My kids have never really watched me swim. I think my 5-year-old understands it. My 2.5-year-old asks me how swimming was, and my 5-year-old gets that I swim every day, and gets that I was a good swimmer. Well before she was born. So, but we don't really talk a lot about it. It's kind of mommy's job, and my husband has his job, and my kids just kind of roll with it, and we kind of focus more on them and what they want to do and be and accomplish and learn. And so there is an understanding, especially because I am swimming so many hours a day now. I think they get the whole swimming thing, but we certainly don't focus on it. And my kids are actually good little swimmers because we live in California, but I don't think they're going to be Olympic swimmers. I just want them to know how to swim in the ocean.
Yeah. Well, Janet, thanks so much for taking the time to share this wisdom of passed down from your mom that the sun will come out tomorrow, and everything you've learned, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian. It was nice chatting with you.
Nice talking to you too. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.